The Vera Show. The Vera Show. The Vera Show. The Vera Show. Let's talk about it. 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 On the Vera.
It looks like I may be having some technical difficulties again today, but the devil is a liar. Hello, everyone. So glad to see you. I am going to start my show with just a little introduction of my guests. And come on. Okay.
With a holistic approach to integrating mind, body, and spirit, Dancing Jaguar Spirit Camp teaches children how to nurture their inner world. This unique program offers children a profound opportunity to experience a deeper awareness of who they are while they're having fun. Join us in our Spirit Camp teacher training program, and you can help us heal the world, one child at a time, because the world is ready, and the children are waiting.
Yes, I am Eva. Hello, Ava. I'm having some technical difficulties today.
I think so. Hello. It's wonderful to be here, Vera.
I am so happy that you're here with me today. And what I'm going to do is share with our audience a little bit about you. So let me pull up your bio and share. Ava is the founder of Dancing Jaguars Spiritual Camp, a program filled with self-help and metaphysical tools for children. Recently, she expanded her programs and is now hosting teacher training programs so other adults can learn how to share these valuable tools with children. Her mission is to empower and inspire the children of today so they can create the world of tomorrow, a world where all of us will thrive. She has shared her work at education symposiums, conferences, and professional development classes for teachers, and is a frequent speaker at summits, on podcasts, and on radio shows. Well, Eva, I am so happy to have you here with me today. And we're talking about spirituality and the importance of being able to tap into that even as a child. But before we go into a lot of detail, I'm going to give you the floor and let you share your journey, why this is such a passion, and how did you get to that point. So you have the floor to share that now.
All right. Well, thank you for that. So, this mission that I'm on, I believe, is so important for our world right now because as human beings, we are made up of mind, body, and spirit. And in our culture, in our society, we have focused a tremendous amount of research and development and programs to really focus on nurturing the minds and the bodies of children, we are completely ignoring one entire whole part of who we are as human beings, that spirit of who we are, the essence of who we are. So one of the things that I like to share with children when I first start working with them, especially if they're in Spirit Camp, our foundational program, is that when they go to school, they're nurturing their minds. When they play sports or when they are going outside for free play, they're nurturing their bodies. And when they come to Spirit Camp or they take any programs or classes through Dancing Jaguar, they are learning how to nurture their spirit, that essence of who they are, that part of them that makes them a beautiful, unique gift to our world that is unlike anyone else. And to my knowledge, there aren't many programs that are available for parents to enroll their children in where the children get to really celebrate the essence of who they are and why their gifts are so important to bring forward into the world with confidence and pride about who they are. So that's a little bit about why I feel like it's so important. Would you like the backstory on how I got here? Okay. So a number of years ago, I was involved in a head-on car crash on Pacific Coast Highway in California. And it completely upended my life. I had been working at Disneyland in the marketing special events area of the park, and I needed to come back to Maine, where I grew up, and live with my parents. And I lived with them for almost 9 years before I was able to live on my own again. And during that time, I started studying spirituality, different forms of it. And I really became drawn to study shamanism. And throughout the course of that, I started realizing that at 3:20 in the morning, I felt like I had this direct connection to spirit because I would receive all kinds of information about this curriculum that could be used with kids. I mean, it's really fun and playful stuff. And I just started kind of paying attention to it, and I was receiving it in such a way that I didn't have to sit up and write it all down as if it were a dream. I received it as full body knowledge. Like I knew everything that I was supposed to be sharing with kids the second it came in. So I started borrowing children from my friends, and I would share this incredible body of work with them. And the parents were loving it. The kids were loving it. The kids were thriving because they were learning about who they are. And they were showing up in new ways in their lives and at school and in their communities and in their families. Like it was shifting family dynamics. And I'll tell you some really cute stories about that afterwards or a little later. And so over time, as I continued healing from my brain injury, I started teaching Spirit Camp, which is a camp that is designed to put the focus on the children. Like most summer camps teach children how to do things, Spirit Camp teaches children how to be who they are, how to practice self-compassion for themselves and for those in the world around them. So Spirit Camp is a camp about learning how to be a spirit in a human body, as opposed to learning how to go out and do things in the world. They're learning how to show up as the best version of themselves in the world. So it has a very different focus.
I love that. Now, one of the things you mentioned you studied, what was that you said that you studied?
Shamanism.
You want to explain that?
Sure. That's shamanism is an ancient form of connecting to the spirit world. And it involves either drumming or rattling, and the drum and the rattle for me, they put me into like an altered state of consciousness. So I can kind of leave my thinking brain aside, my logical thinking brain, and just allow myself to go into an altered state of consciousness where I'm able to actually experience direct connection to spirit helpers that help me in my work with children. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And for me, it's been life changing. And it has provided me with an opportunity to go deeper and deeper into my own spirituality, to understand my own connection to God, source energy, and how to show up in my life being the best that I can be, so that I can share that and mirror that and be that for the children that I work with.
That's awesome. Now, I need to ask, because when you say shamanism, or I'm thinking, and I don't know if it ties in or not, but that word has been out there. But maybe it's not the same. The way that our country is going right now, and they talk about shaman. Is that the same?
I don't know what you're referencing.
Like,
Shamanism is pure love.
okay,
It's pure love. It's pure connection to source energy.
okay,
So like there's nothing that can be construed as demonic or hate or anything. It is pure love and connection to source energy.
okay. Now, you and I earlier had talked about a lot of people that have faith and religion.
Yes.
So, how does this connect, or maybe not connect, with religion? And for someone that may say, well, I believe in God, I believe in Jesus, I believe in Muhammad, I'm a Hindu. So how does that tie in with what you do?
That's a great question. So, children of all faiths come to Spirit Camp. Children who are atheists come to Spirit Camp. I mean, Spirit Camp has nothing to do with religion whatsoever. So, every religion can feel welcome and can feel like Spirit Camp is for them. Because all right, I'll explain to you how I came to understand the difference between religion and spirituality. And like, I just want to share my own personal experience with this. So I don't want anybody to feel like I'm attacking their beliefs at all. This is totally my personal journey through this. So I came to understand that the various religions around the world each have their own dogma, each have their own way of worshiping God, and each have their own rules for what is appropriate or inappropriate, or what's acceptable or unacceptable. And for me, what I have discovered is that spirituality for me transcends that, because I feel like spirituality takes the foundational truths. God is omnipotent, God is omnipresent, takes those basic foundational truths from all of the world religions, and just uses those foundational truths as the basis for the work that we're doing. So religion isn't a part of Spirit Camp at all, but connection to God, all of that is a part of Spirit Camp without the religious dogma attached to it. So every child can feel completely welcome coming to Spirit Camp.
Now, when you talk about spirit, and then we've separated the religion piece. I understand we are physical beings, mental beings, emotional beings, but we're also spiritual beings.
Yes.
So how does one, especially a child, how do you get children to tap into that spirituality that is so much a part of our lives? And if we all were to come to terms with our spirituality, which you also identify as love,
Mm-hmm.
if we all just imagine if
Yes.
we were to focus on love, focus on that spirituality, then a lot of the stuff that we got going on right now would not be happening. And children would be less stressed, more calm and focused. So I know I kind of went off, but just kind of touch on that for me.
Well, okay, there was so much there to touch on. So let me see. Well, first of all, the the information that I was receiving, like in these downloads of information at 3:20 in the morning, it is a brand new way of working with children. There is nobody else that has a program like this that I am aware of, and I have been contacted by people all over the world. So um, there's nothing like it, but it is so incredibly simple. For instance, I there's a beautiful story that I start spirit camp with on the very first day of camp, and it's all about this little girl who has an invisible friend. Look at how many children have invisible friends. She discovers her invisible friend is a little spirit friend that came to earth with her when she was born to help her remember that she is a spirit in a human body and that her spirit lives in an apartment in her heart. And this little girl wants to find a way to remember to live her life from the inside out so everybody always gets to see the real her. And the only way she can figure out to remind herself to do this is if she puts on her socks inside out every day as her reminder to live her life from the inside out. So her spirit shines through in everything that she does.
That is beautiful
Isn't it?
because it is, because that's how we should be living,
Yes.
inside out,
Yes.
because the Spirit of God is within us.
Yes.
And I know with Christianity, we hear that all the time. The Spirit of God is within us.
Mm-hmm.
And if Spirit is love and we're pouring from inside out, that love, unconditional love, which in Christianity is called agape love, if we're working and operating from that perspective, and if we can teach children how to do that, oh my God.
So that I want to jump off into another topic for just a second. It ties in with it though, because after I had taught spirit camp for 3 or 4 years, I started hearing the message at 3:20 in the morning, the world is ready and the children are waiting. And I
Mm,
kept thinking, well, I'm being validated for the fact that I am coming forward and doing this work with children and seeing how much they're thriving by this. And but I kept hearing the message, so I kind of figured I wasn't getting something right, because usually if I get a message and I understand it immediately, it's over and done with and life goes on. So after a while, I finally figured out that maybe I'm supposed to be writing all this down and sharing it with other adults so they can teach children too. And as soon as I made that connection, within the next 30 days, I had received messages from people in 14 different countries saying, there's nothing like this where we live. Can you bring this to us? And
wow.
that's when I realized the immensity of that message. The world is ready. I was like, holy crap, they're not kidding. The whole world needs this. The whole world is ready for it. And the children are waiting. The children who are coming into this world are so connected to spirit, and they are so aware, and they are so conscious. So many kids I work with actually remember previous lives, and they'll talk about the fact that they remember when they were the boy before and their mom was their dad and stuff like that. I mean, they just blurt stuff out. So there's an awareness in children today that is absolutely mind blowing. And what happens at Spirit Camp is they're given a chance to feel normal with those experiences that they're having, because they can't talk about that at school. You know, people will tell them that they're crazy and call them names and stuff. And then what happens is kids start shutting down that connection to spirit that they are born with. We are all born with, starts shutting down around the age of 8, when it becomes not cool to talk about these experiences. And the only way that some kids can really kind of move forward in life is to shut down those sensitivities that they have. So my goal and my mission is to help children stay awake, stay conscious to those gifts, and really accept them and embrace them, because so many adults that I work with have this spiritual awakening in their midlife, where they're trying to undo all of those layers of conformity that they kind of put upon themselves as a child because it didn't feel safe to talk about those things when they were little. They're trying to undo all of that as an adult. And if I can help support children to understand that it's safe today to be able to keep your gifts right there within you and embrace them and use those gifts as you step forward out into the world, our world really is going to change. And one of the messages that I received is that, you know, we have the ability to change the consciousness of our planet in 20 years. Think of if we could work with 1 million children this year and teach them how to connect to that essence of who they are, and how to really learn how to trust their intuition. And I mean, for me, intuition is just your connection to God source, you know, to source energy. And that's where you will never be steered wrong. That is where you can always find true north. You know, whatever direction you're supposed to be moving in, if you learn to tap into that the ability to sense that with all of your heart and all of your being, you will always be moving forward in your highest good. And that's what we start teaching children at 5 years old, how to start tapping into that inner knowing. So as they're growing up, they are developing those muscles of trusting their gut, trusting their intuition, trusting their inner knowing, that when they have that really strong gut feeling, it's okay to act on it because of their highest good.
So how do you, and I don't want to get into your curriculum or anything. However, I
Yeah.
do want you to maybe share one technique that can help kids tap into that spirituality. And it also does this also work for adults?
Totally. We're launching Spirit Camp for adults in January. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, because so many of the people who sent their kids to Spirit Camp say, I needed this when I was a child. My life would be completely different today if I had had somebody supporting me with this when I was a child. So it's important for me to send my child to Spirit Camp, but I never learned this stuff myself. I need to learn this for me. Can you create a Spirit Camp for adults? And that's how Spirit Camp for Adults has started. Parents have actually come to Spirit Camp with their children so they can learn the curriculum right along with their children. So when they go home and they're back in their little family pods, they're able to support their kids and kind of spread that teaching and that knowing throughout the entire family. And it really does shift the dynamics in families when children go to Spirit Camp. I remember, okay, there's so many things to talk about. So after the kids read that or hear me read that story to them, the very first morning of Spirit Camp, we go into our workstation areas, and the children make their spirit toolbox out of a cardboard shoebox. And everything that they learn and create to nurture their spirit throughout the course of the week goes into their spirit toolbox.
Can you give me an example of what might go into the toolbox?
Yes, they have lots of worksheets that they learn to work with that, but they have tools too. They create their own set of rattles that we use when we're calling in the spirits of north, south, east, west, above, below, and within. And we talk and we call in the spirit, the nature spirits. We work closely with the energy of the natural world, and the kids start learning that the saying "we are all one" is not just a saying, or "we are all connected." It's not just a saying, because the kids learn that we're made up of energy as well, and we go out into the natural world, and the kids start learning how to energetically connect to the trees, to the boulders. Kids have the ability to feel the energy in the natural world, but nobody's ever taught them before. I'm telling you, the tools that we teach kids are so incredibly simple. If every child could learn these tools, we would all grow up understanding that saying we're all connected, because they're actually embodying that knowledge and that wisdom when they go to spirit camp, because they're actually learning how to sense the energy of things that are alive around them.
And
So
that's interesting, because when I lived in Kentucky, I went to a cave. And inside that cave, it was like a living cave. And we were told that if you touch certain areas, it could impact.
mhm,
And so that energy, it's like energy begats energy. So that energy from my energy with the energy of that stuff in the cave,
mhm.
it's amazing.
Yeah,
And
it is.
so, and the same holds true. I love trees. I just have a thing for trees. And so there's even that spiritual connection with nature. And that's probably one of the reasons that it's so good to get out in nature and
It is.
understand that spiritual connection as a result of being out in God's creations.
Yes. It's very grounding and calming to be out in nature. But I'll just share a story with you. Like, we do a lot of work on opening your heart before we go out into nature. And I want the children to learn how to listen with their heart as opposed to their ears, and see with their heart as opposed to their eyes.
Now, how
And
do
when
you
they
do
can,
that?
well, when you start learning how to do that, you experience the world in a completely different way. So there was a 5-year-old little boy who had been part of that lesson, how we are really going to focus on our heart chakra, which is one of our energy systems in our body, energy centers. So we do a lot of work on learning about the energy centers in our bodies, and we were focusing on our heart chakra and opening that before we went outside, so that the children could allow their experience of nature to be different than it ever has been before. And I gave the children an assignment with exactly what to do when they approached the tree and started sensing the energy of the tree. And then there was 3 minutes of silence where the children were connecting to the trees. And this little 5-year-old boy afterwards said, "I really listened with my heart and not with my ears like you told me to. And when I did that, I could hear the sap moving inside the tree." And I mean, you hear the most profound things come out of children's mouths. There was another little girl who was 6 who was meditating for 3 minutes with the tree. And I went over to get her and to walk her back to where the other children were at the camp. And I said, did you have any kind of an experience while you were, silent with the tree? And she said, yes. The tree asked me if I would be its friend because it's afraid it's going to get blown over in a windstorm. And I said, oh, really? I thought, well, that's an interesting piece of information. So as we're walking away from the tree, this was a very tall tree. So as we were walking away from the tree, I was turning around and looking up at the top of the tree, and it had to be 50 or 60 feet tall. And the whole top part of the tree was dead. And it could very well have been blown over in the next windstorm. So I was like, there is no way this little girl would have known that sitting at the base
Oh
of
my
the
God.
tree, connecting to it. So the children have this, they are so open spiritually when they're born. And like I said, it's around the age of 8 that they start shutting down. So I start working with children at 5 years old to really help them understand that it's normal to go out there and be able to sense the energy of a tree and to be able to communicate with it. I mean, it's so simple, and it gives them such a profound understanding of that saying that we are all connected because they felt it in their bodies.
Well, let me ask you, how does what you do impact on behaviors?
Oh, wow. Well, I'll share a story from a spirit camp mom who said prior to spirit camp, when her child was in a bad mood, everybody knew it and everybody was impacted by it because she didn't have any tools. She just was in a bad mood. So everybody was miserable and impacted by her. After spirit camp, when her child was in a bad mood, she would go to her bedroom door and slam the door, but she would come out a completely different child 20 minutes later because she would go straight to her spirit toolbox, open it up, and find something in there that resonated with her in that moment that she could do to help her self-regulate, to help her come back to a place of peace and calm and centered and being grounded. And kids have the ability to do this themselves
Yes, they do.
when they're taught. They are
Yes.
such simple tools. So the mom said that it saved her family because after spirit camp, whenever her kid was in a bad mood, her child knew what to do to take care of herself. And she wasn't waiting for something outside of her to change her mood. She knew how to do it from the inside out.
Wow. So, teachers,
Mhm.
have they given you feedback on maybe a child like the one you just gave, but the misbehaviors that go on in the classroom? Have you had or heard stories of how this spirit awareness has impacted on behaviors in the classroom?
Yeah. Well, in fact, I'm a substitute teacher at a Montessori school. And
Okay.
I'll share with you a couple of my experiences there because when I come in as a sub, there are always 2 teachers in a classroom, the head teacher and the assistant teacher. So I'm always in as the assistant teacher because if the head teacher's out, the assistant teacher moves up and I'm the assistant teacher for the day. So if there's any child that's having a really hard day, the teachers trust me 100% to be able to support that child in a way that is going to help the child come back to center and be able to come back to being able to participate in the classroom better. So there was a day where this child, I think she was maybe 7, was just having a bad day and crying over everything. Every single thing made her cry. So finally, but she would her crying was like sobbing, crying like the world was coming to an end over, I don't know, her pencil lead broke or something. So the teacher asked me if I would take her out into the hall room and maybe do some little centering thing with her. All I did was a breathing technique with her where I had her pretend she had her hand was a fist and pretend it was a flower, and pretend her index finger was a candle that was lit. There was a flame. So I had her imagine she was smelling the flower, and then going to blow on the flame, but not blow it out. Just blow really, really soft and gentle. And like it took 3 breaths and she was completely calmed down. So we talked about what flower she was imagining and what it smelled like and what color was her candle. And she didn't blow her flame out, did she? Well, the next day I was back in the classroom again, and that same little girl came in the morning and ran up to me and said, Ava, guess what? I started crying really hard at my house last night, and I remembered that you told me about flower and candle breath. So I did it last night, and my mom wanted me to come to school today and say thank you.
And that is just beautiful. Breathing, people don't understand how breathing is so powerful. Just, I mean, when you're feeling agitated or angry or frustrated or whatever you may be feeling, breathing, breathing in and out can make a difference.
Totally, 100%. Like I have a couple of other stories that were really cute about kids. I was staying with a family outside of Arlington, Virginia, when I was doing a spirit camp there, and I was of the family, and I was taking one of their children who may have been 10 to a matinee on a weekend afternoon. And we were stuck for those of you in Washington, D.C., we were stuck in Tyson's Corner traffic, and we were not moving anywhere. So I could feel the tension in the car really amping up because this child was so anxious about ever being late for anything. And I knew the movie trailers at the beginning were something that he was really looking forward to. Well, all of a sudden I hear from the back seat, Ava, I think we should do one of our breathing techniques from Spirit Camp. It's like, I teach the stuff, but it's the kids that remind me. So I said, oh, really? Which one would you like to do? And he said, I think I want to do peace breath. So we did this technique called peace breath. And I could feel the energy in the car coming down like this as we were doing peace breath. We did like 3 breaths, and it was completely changed. But there's another really cute story about a child with peace breath. Peace breath is a breath where I have the children envision that they're holding Mother Earth in the palms of their hands. And when we inhale, we fill up our heart chakra with as much love as we possibly can. And then when we exhale, we whisper the word peace. And we're sending peace to all of Mother Earth that is cradled in the palms of our hands. Because the kids have learned over the course of the week that anything we're putting out into the world energetically, it's like the butterfly effect or the ripple effect when you put a stone in water, it just keeps rippling away. So we learn about peace breath. But then the second time we do peace breath, I ask the children to think of someone that they've had a recent conflict with. And when we take our next breath, I want them to think of that person in the palm of their hands. And when we whisper the word peace, whisper peace to that person and to that situation that you have recently been in with that person. And let's see if we can start shifting the energy of that situation by sending it peace. I had a little boy at school, a little 8-year-old, called me after school one day. And he said, Ava, Mom told me it was okay to call you because I'm getting in trouble when I go to school now because I stick my tongue out at this other kid in the classroom and he sticks his tongue out at me, but I'm the one that gets caught. So I have to go stand in the hallway. And I just thought of peace breath today. And I thought maybe if I do peace breath when I'm standing out in the hall and I think of him when I'm doing the peace breath, maybe we won't be so mad at each other all the time. What do you think? And I just thought, holy cow, this child has the secret to world peace right there in his classroom. So the kids take the tools that they're learning at Spirit Camp and they directly apply them into their lives.
And you know what? That peace, I have to share this. I mean, I've not gone through your training, but I do know the power of peace. I was dealing with a very contentious situation that I had no choice but to be there. And I started saying, peace, be still. Peace, be still. And I would say it from the time I left my home until I got to my destination. And the first time I recognized, I walked in the door, and immediately this person started coming at me. And I was able to remain calm, not react, relate, or respond, because having said, peace, be still, there was a peace that came over me that allowed me to deal with the situation. And someone else that was there actually said to me, I saw what just happened. I saw that. And so I can attest to just using that word peace.
Mm-hmm.
For me, now, peace be still is a scripture. And so so you can even take this technique and use scriptures, or whatever your religious faith is, whatever it is that you rely on, you can take those scriptures as well as an example for someone that's trying to understand how this can connect. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you can take those scriptures and use your technique and feel it. I
Yeah.
mean, and again, I haven't gone through your training, but I know the power of just saying, peace, be still. I know the power of that from my own personal experience. And
Mm-hmm.
so for a child to understand, and just imagine if we all embraced peace, if we all collectively
Mm-hmm.
did that on a consistent base, I can see how your topic,
Yes.
could work.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple of other things that I'd like to share with you too about how parents have really recognized how the teachings are so simple, but they are so impactful in children's lives. Um, we have energy centers in our bodies that are called chakras,
Mm-hmm.
and there are 7 of them. And on our second day of spirit camp, children learn that everything that's alive is made up of energy, and we help them start feeling the energy in their hands. And we share some teachings with them about experiments that have done with the effects of positive and negative energy on water crystals. Well, our bodies are mostly made up of water as well. So we kind of take all of those experiments that were done in a lab, and we kind of bring it into a much more personal experience with, but we're made up of water too. And our energy is impacted by the positive and negative energy that surrounds us. And we have the power to impact those around us with the energy that we are putting out in the world. So over the course of an entire 6-hour day with the children on that second day of spirit camp, they're learning about the responsibility they have to be putting out thoughts, words, deeds, and actions that are from a loving space, a compassionate place, a generous space, a kind place, because we are the ones responsible for the energy that we are putting out into the world. And we do
Yeah.
these exercises with children where they become fully aware of their chakras that day, and really aware of the energy and how it feels when it enters their chakras, when it's really negative versus when it's really positive. So because they can sense it and feel it, they understand at 5 years old that we all have a responsibility with how we're showing up in the world. Because if we want a kind and loving world, it starts with us.
Yes, I love it. I
Yes.
love it.
So
Now, you know what? I'm sorry. I have several commercials that I need to play.
okay.
And so I'm going to just run them all at the same time,
Okay.
because I am loving this. I am loving this because I know that this could really make a difference, not only in children's lives, but just imagine families
Yep.
tapping into this.
I'll share some family stories when we come back from commercials.
All right. All right. We'll
Okay.
be right back.
All
Okay.
right.
If you are a business owner or entrepreneur and you're looking for a way to share your mission, your purpose, your products and services literally with the world faster, safer, and easier, making your brand accessible to millions from the comfort of your home, well, I want to encourage you to join our Learn How to Start a Podcast and Monetize It class. Why? Is because this was designed for entrepreneurs like yourself as a platform to provide you with the knowledge in order to not only start a podcast, but successfully launch it. And then the third key, which is helping you to understand how you can monetize your podcast as you are impacting the world with good. You can also build multiple streams of income from this one podcast and share your story, mission, and purpose literally with the world. So on today, I want you to go ahead and click CoachTinaRamsey.com to join our podcast class today.
Ms. Mac, $1 million maker, Ms. Mac marketing. 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 Make your dreams become reality today with Ms. Mac Marketing. 848-236-5026.
Hi, my name is Kijano Owens. I am co-founder of Success Express Marketing Solutions. Our business is cultivating more business for your business. I want to tell you real quick about our program that is one of the most comprehensive business development online marketing support programs out there, which is the VASP, VASP, Virtual Assistant Support Program. This system allows you to operate and run your business while we help monitor and help you cultivate more business for your business online. Contact us at 909-686-1698 and visit us online at successexpressmarketing.com. Look forward to helping you take your business to the next level.
Yes, Success Express, Ms. Mag Marketing, and Coach Tina Ramsey's podcast training. Let them know that you heard it on the Vera Thomas Show. Thank you. All right, now let's get back to this because this is so interesting. I am loving this. I am loving it.
Oh, thank you. Well, I love this stuff too. I'm really passionate about it. So it's really fun for me when I have an interview or host that is really enjoying hearing about this. So thank you for your openness to it.
Yeah.
So I want to share a story about a 5-year-old little girl who went to spirit camp before she even started kindergarten. So in the fall, her mom emailed me and said that the mom had come home from work that day absolutely exhausted. And her 5-year-old daughter went up to her and said, "Mom, why don't you let me align your chakras for you before dinner? Because I think you would feel a lot better."
Oh my God.
And the mom said in that moment, she was not only impressed that her 5-year-old daughter remembered that from spirit camp, but she said she realized in that moment that the children who attend spirit camp come away with knowledge, wisdom, and tools to be able to be participants in the holistic well-being of their families. Because this child knew energetically her mom was exhausted, and by supporting her mom's energy centers and aligning them and working with them before her mom had to go make dinner, that was going to help her mom feel better. At 5 years old, giving children that kind of knowledge. And like I said, I mean, these tools are so darn simple. And the fact that nobody is sharing them with kids just blows my mind now that I'm on the other side of it. Like, I never would have thought to share this stuff with kids, but these are tools I use in my everyday life. Why can't we be sharing them with kids? And then excuse me, there was this other 5-year-old little girl who again went to spirit camp before she started school. And in the fall, she needed to start going to school full days and on the bus. And it was a really big transition for her. So one day at lunch, she missed her mom and started crying. And a bunch of the older kids started poking fun of her and teasing her for crying. So when she got home, she relayed what happened to her mom. And of course, her mom was heartbroken. And her mom said, well, what did you do? How did you handle that? She said, Mom, I was fine. I know how to shield myself. I zipped up my chakras. And the mom again said, like, that's an expression that we use for how children can seal their energy centers off so they aren't taking in the negative energy of the people around them. For kids at 5 years old to know that there's a tool they can use that, like, it's just a simple tool, but it helped her get through that situation at school. And she was not traumatized by it at all because she was empowered with knowledge and tools to be able to handle herself in that situation.
Wow. And oh my goodness, for anyone that works with children, having this tool could change the trajectory of what is happening today.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. This is so awesome. This is so awesome. So go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I go back to the ripple effect. We're starting with working with 20 kids in a camp right now, in a spirit camp. And, those ripple effects are, spreading out in the community a little bit by little bit as the kids are talking to their friends about spirit camp. And then next year, those kids that went to spirit camp the first year, almost every single one of them comes back the second year because there's no other place where they can learn how to be themselves and how to show up as the best version of them. So the whole camp is all about them, and they thrive and they love it and they want to come back the next year, but the next year they bring their friends. So we are having this ripple effect.
Yes. Now, do you have video testimonials from your children?
Yes, I have some. Yes.
Awesome. I wish we had some of those to share.
Well,
but we didn't think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And I have testimonials. I have a lot of testimonials, written ones on my Facebook, not my Facebook page, my website. There's a lot of written testimonials from parents. And there are testimonials from, I don't know if I have the children's testimonials on my website. I don't think I do, but they're on my YouTube channel. I do have a YouTube channel too.
Yes, and your YouTube channel is, now what's your website?
DancingJaguarInspirations.com. Oh, I think I just saw it go by there.
That was your email, right?
That was my email. Okay.
So say it again.
It's DancingJaguarInspirations.com. And while you're writing that, can I just tell people that we do have a teacher training program, and we will be starting a new one in January. It's a 6-day training, and you become certified to use the Dancing Jaguar logo to be able to work with children in your community. And you get business support into how to do that, how to make it happen, how to bring this important curriculum, these important tools for kids to learn how to be a spirit in a human body. You will have the curriculum to be able to do it in 6 days. And it's amazing because I'm doing it. I just want to share this because it's so exciting to me. I'm doing a teacher training program right now. And the people that I'm working with are all from a state in the US that does not have any spirit camps in it yet. So I'm doing a training program with somebody from Florida, North Carolina, Kentucky, Alaska, Hawaii, Connecticut. I think that might be it. I might be missing one. I'm not sure. But every single one of those states, these teachers that I'm training right now are going to be planting these seeds in their state. So I feel like I'm finally seeing the fruition of the mission that Spirit gave me. You know, I was told to amass my army of peaceful warriors to start planting the seeds of Spirit Camp everywhere around the world. And I feel like in this teacher training program I'm doing right now, I am seeing that, oh my
Yeah.
God, it's actually starting to happen.
Do you have are there spirit camps in Georgia?
Not yet.
Oh, okay. Well,
Not yet. But you know
not
what's really
yet.
interesting? I was doing spirit camps in Virginia, in Roanoke, Charlottesville, and Arlington for 3 years. I did those 3 cities each summer. And I had families who would fly their children in to stay with relatives from Florida, North Carolina, and Georgia. Kids would fly in to do my Virginia spirit camps because there weren't any farther south than Virginia. And parents understood the importance of this work for their children. And the kids would go stay with their grandparents or aunts and uncles or something. So they would have an opportunity to go to the ones in Virginia. So this really is going to spread because there's nothing else like it to support children. And oh, can I just tell you something else that's really exciting? I have had a Catholic parish book a spirit camp. I've had an Episcopalian priest reach out to me and say, we really want to start seeing how we can start bringing this into our Sunday school programs because we need to be showing up differently for the children.
Yeah.
You know, the people are leaving the churches in droves, and we need to start doing it differently. And we need to start with the children. We see spirit camp. We are aware of you and we are paying attention. That is huge.
Yes.
And I've also had a hospital administrator take the teacher training program, not for the sake of running the program in their community, but because they want to learn how they can start bringing in healthy programming for their family education programs within their hospital education programs for families. So like, in institutions like education, I've had principals and superintendents and school board people contact me. This hospital administrator has. Now churches and religious leaders are. Everybody is saying we need to make a change. The foundations are cracking underneath those institutions because they're all broken.
Yeah.
And they are looking at Spirit Camp as a new and different way to support the children in our world. That is huge.
That is huge. And the fact that these churches and spiritual group or religious groups, because you can take the teachings that are taught in your institutions and really apply them to the spirit camp. Just like for example, peace be still. That's a scripture, but yet you are using it to help kids have that sense of peace. And so there are certain scriptures that can be applied to what it is that you're doing. And it doesn't take away from the philosophy of the religious teaching. That is awesome. And you know what? We are out of time. I don't believe it.
I just noticed that. Yes. I want to thank you so much for the opportunity to be here on your show and to talk to your listeners and your audience members about this, because it is it has such an opportunity to change the world, starting with the children. And I'm grateful to you for this opportunity.
And you know, there's a scripture that says, out of the mouths of babes, you know, and so we can't dismiss children. And oftentimes there's wisdom within, like the examples that you gave. You were able to teach these kids, and they in turn were able to apply what was taught to help a mother who was stressed out.
Right. Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, you know, we have ran out of time.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Well, I got through it almost, but don't leave. I'm going to shut down. But I know you have another appointment. We need to talk again.
Okay.
Okay. So
Yep.
thank you so much for being here. I am so honored that you were here, and I'm excited about
Thank you,
what it
sweetie.
is that you're doing. And I want to look at how we can incorporate and collaborate on what we're doing, what each of us is doing, because it's all about transforming lives. It's all about instilling greatness, and it's
Yep.
all about having that spirituality connected.
Yes. Can I ask you to put an S at the end of inspiration?
Okay,
DancingJaguarInspirations.com.
wait a minute. Where
And
is
I
it?
have students waiting for me. So
Okay.
can I
All right.
bow out? Oh, thank you, sweetheart. Mwah.
Thank you.
I
Thank
hope you feel better
you.
too, and that you don't have a cough.
Thank you so much. And you said it should be Dancing Inspirations with an S on the end.
DancingJaguarInspirations.com.
Okay,
It has
got
an
it.
S on it. All right.
All
Thanks,
right.
honey.
All right. Thank you. Bye
Bye-bye.
bye. Listen, audience, thank you so much for listening to this. This was really an eye enlightening broadcast. And just think, if we can help our children connect to their spirituality and implement and use whatever your faith is, your scriptures, whatever your faith is, to pull it all together and bring it all together, that would be amazing. And just think, we can change the world. We can change the world one child at a time. Well, listen, thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next week.
The Vera Talent Show. The Vera Talent Show. The Vera Talent Show. The Vera Talent Show. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk